Welcome to Car Talk, where we talk everything about car. Today, let us talk about this, the Nissan Kicks e-Power. If only Tanjong Malaysia introduced this car 2 or 3 years earlier, I believe on our road it would be full of this. So what I said 2 to 3 years ago, if only Tanjong Malaysia could introduce this car, it would be full on the road. If you have been traveled to other part of Southeast Asia, for example, our neighboring country, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, you will see plenty of this, the Nissan Kicks e-Power. For Nissan Kicks, it's actually not a new product. It has releases since 2016, almost 10 years ago. And only 2024, Tanjong brought into Malaysia after Vietnam in 2022, Thailand in 2020, and Philippines in 2022. So yes, it's a little bit late, but fret not. The exterior that we are looking here is the facelifted first generation Nissan Kicks. At 2025, there's plenty of other options available in the market right now. No matter it's a HEV or traditional SUV. For example, the Cherry Tigor Cross HEV that we have reviewed previously at here. Then we also have reviewed the Honda City hatchback e-HEV before. There's plenty of e-HEV options on the road right now, but this is actually quite unique. This is very similar to what we have reviewed before, not officially sold, but officially leased by Perodua Malaysia. The Daihatsu Rocky e-Smart Hybrid or the Hatiwa Hybrid. So generally speaking, those type of vehicle is called REEV, Range Extender Electric Vehicle, which I will introduce it later on. For those who are considering a hybrid vehicle, most of the time it's because you want to spend more on petrol money and you want to enjoy the benefit of electric drivetrain. In this case, there's already plenty of such vehicles exist in the market. For example, the Corolla Cross Hybrid, the Tigor Cross HEV, then you have the Honda City e-HEV, all of those. This car came too late because by the time most people already introduced the concept, they would not bother to discover what is the most enjoyable hybrid to drive. And for me, in my opinion, this car, despite of its humble and very low profile, somewhat ugly tackling kind of exterior, it's actually the best hybrid that I have ever driven. I will explain that later in the driving section. So let's talk about Nissan in overall. Nissan, as we all know it, it's in trouble right now. If you have paid attention or noticed all the news nowadays, ever since the CEO of Renault Nissan Alliance Group, Carlo Ghosn, has been in some scandal news, and their presence in Malaysia is lower and lower day by day. No matter it's from their own internal problem, no matter it's a Nissan problem or a Tanjong problem, or as a matter of fact, plenty of competitors outside from China or even from Korea in that sense are fighting the market. There's nothing that Nissan can provide to the local market. But this car, Nissan Kicks, does have something to show. What is Nissan Kicks? For those who are not familiar with Nissan product, I'm quite sure you will know that many months ago, there is a very famous Nissan product called Grand Livina and Grand Livina X Gear. Yes, that is actually the granddaddy of this car. The product lineup of Nissan is from Grand Livina X Gear, replaced by Nissan Juke, which is not introduced in Malaysia officially by Tanjong Malaysia, then to this Nissan Kicks. In other region, there is an ICE variant of this car. No matter come with a 3-cylinder turbo or with the Xtronic CVT gearbox. In Malaysia, Nissan Kicks only have one, which is this e-powertrain. If you have a chance, you need to experience this car yourself. Now you know the story about the product lineup for Nissan. And Nissan Kicks is actually designed, core venture design from Nissan Design Studio in Japan and also Nissan Design Studio in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So you can tell that this car does not look too Japanese, nor it's too American. And for those who know about Nissan news, you will also notice that there is a second generation Nissan Kicks available in the American market and only the left-hand drive market. For that, surprisingly, based on the information that we get, it's only for the ICE drivetrain. There is no e-power drivetrain for that vehicle. Another confusing point from Nissan Group. And let's move on to the exterior design of this vehicle. So let's talk about the exterior design of this Nissan Kicks. As you all know, this product is actually since 2016, almost 9 years ago, and they have gone through a major facelift around 2020, circa 2020. So what we get in Malaysia is quite unique. We have the facelifted first generation Nissan Kicks exterior body with the second generation latest e-powered drivetrain. It's like a mix and match of everything all together. An old exterior with a new mechanical interior, mechanical drivetrain, if you can understand it that way. So this design here is what Nissan has been using all this while. They call it the V motion. You can find it in Navara, you can find it in Almera, heck, you will even find it in the Nissan GTR. But V motion is something that Nissan used back then. Now, if you notice, the latest Hello car of Nissan, the 400Z, they no longer use V motion as their design philosophy. You can also find the new design philosophy in the third generation Nissan Leaf. That is actually the new design concept of Nissan. Oh yeah, and also the second generation of Kicks. So just to make you feel more confusing. So for Nissan Kicks, on the paper it does look like a small SUV or a small hatchback, but the actual thing is rather big. The official product category of this is actually an urban crossover SUV. You can understand it as a B- SUV, which is the competitor of Honda HR-V, the Corolla Cross, and also Proton X50. So don't be fooled by what you see on paper or on internet picture. You should go and look at the real thing yourself. It's actually rather big, especially the interior. Okay. Moving on to the design elements of this vehicle, the exterior side, you have this very sharp headlamp with a Kicks logo here. Then you have a very traditional cladding design. You have a very strong character line here that goes down, and then one line that goes all the way to the rear side of the vehicle. Then you have this black out sea cladding. This car, exterior wise, is not as sexy as GTR or Fairlady, whatnot. You can even call it very typical and traditional family SUV. Will surely not stand out in the ocean of all the Chinese competitors. But don't be fooled by the exterior. If you think the side profile of the vehicle is already John Doe enough, just look at the rear design of the vehicle. For me, this is my least favorite part of the vehicle, mainly because it reminds me of the previous generation Nissan X-Trail, or even worse, it reminds me of the yellow color squeegee duck that you use in bathroom. You wouldn't call it beautiful, but in some angles, it's rather cute. Then that's not to say there's no fix to this. Nissan officially has released a few accessory package for you to pimp up your car. Also, they said you can select the Impal body kit accessories package for more aggressive wings and also a diffuser. In Thailand, they also have a version called All Tech with a special blue color and a different design of rear wing. The vehicle that we have here is actually equipped with what Nissan officially called it as Adventure Package. It comes with this window visor and scuffing plates on the brake and throttle pedal, and also some anti-scuff here, some cladding inside. So yeah, there's plenty of options for you to make your car look a little bit better with more personality. But again, as I said, don't let the exterior of this car fool you. It might look like very typical, very John Doe, some call it boring, but wait until you drive it, then you will know what's magical about this vehicle. Before we talk about the driving experience of this vehicle, let's do a quick walk around on the practical aspect of this car. So let's look at the boot space. I believe due to the unique exterior design and how Nissan place their product in this segment, the boot space is rather unique. You can't say it's small, it's actually rather big with a very big, with very deep depth, okay, and a very wide egress. But it's not squarish enough due to the rig of the rear view mirror, and also it's not flat here. So if you are intended to use this as a picnic bench, it's not that convenient. You will go deep inside, just like this. Then what's underneath this tray is the auxiliary battery, the 12-volt battery, and also the spare tire repair kit. You won't see any spare tires here or even the hybrid battery. So where does the hybrid located? I will share with you later. It does also support the 60/40 fold down, but here is also one point that the Nissan loses out compared to the other two Japanese competitors, the Corolla Cross and also the Honda HR-V, because it's not full flat. You can see there's obvious gap here. If you're really concerned about this, maybe this car is not for you, but for me, it's alright. It's not like that I'm going to move house all the time. What you can see is the 17-inch diamond cut rim wrapped in Yokohama Blue Earth tires size 205/55 R17. So as you can tell from the name Yokohama Blue Earth, this is actually an eco tires. Then when it comes to the suspension setup, no surprise there, it's still front McPherson strut and rear torsion beam setup. It all sounds very bland and boring on paper, more so when you count in the power output from the drivetrain. But again, let me reassure you, this car does have a huge surprise when it comes to the driving department. We have done talking about the introduction, the trivia and the exterior of the vehicle. Now let's talk about the mechanical aspect of this vehicle. Once we have lifted up the engine bonnet, you will notice something. This engine bonnet is rather thick, and I believe Nissan engineer purposely done so that they can put more insulation material in the engine bonnet to reduce the voice noise harshness from something here to go inside there. Then once you look at the engine bay, you will see there is an item here that looks like engine and one big slab of silver components with orange color cables with a high big wording there. They call it the Nissan e-Power. So what is this about? Previously, when we reviewed Perodua Artiva Hybrid, we have made a tech talk video that explains what is an REEV about. So this and that. My editor will post a video of what we have done back then. You can view it as a reference if you are interested to know what is REEV. So now let's move on. Here, for me personally, you do not need to know how much horsepower or how much torque the engine here generates. It does not matter because this is just a generator. No difference than the Honda generator that you see at Pasar Malam. This generator is 1.2 litre with 4 cylinders. That's all you need to know. However, the most interesting part, and for me the most crucial part of this vehicle is this, the Nissan e-Power module. Upon my research, I found something that are quite interesting. For this car, it uses the exact same electric motor with the Nissan Leaf. They call it the EM57. So for this EM57 motor, what is the performance figure? It does have 260 Nm of torque and 129 PS of horsepower. Horsepower doesn't sound much, but the torque is quite a lot, 260 Nm of them. And you need to remember that despite all the BYDs and Tesla on the road right now, if you remember correctly, or for those who are not so new to the car scene, do you remember who is the first ever mass production electric vehicle in the market? Yes, it's Nissan that started it. They call it the Nissan Leaf. Back then, as far as I remember when I'm a kid, there's only 2 Japanese manufacturers that managed to mass produce electric vehicle. Number one is the Mitsubishi i-MiEV, I-M-I-E-V, and the other is the Nissan Leaf. So when you're talking about building EVs, electric motors, Nissan surely know what they are doing. So let's talk about the rear seat space of this vehicle. And as you can see, it's actually quite okay for 4 adults. But does it have center armrest? Unfortunately, none. The seat has adjustability on the seat bench. Nope, there's only one angle. And I have received some input from my colleagues. They do feel that the rear seat bed is rather upright. It's not inclined enough to be relaxed. And the floor pan is not flat either. What more toys that you get in the rear seat? It's just 2 USB charger and USB-A, guys, not USB-C. You have a door pocket here, a very simple power window switch. So there's nothing fancy about the rear seat. You only have some soft leather touch point here, and the door cut, as you can hear, is all plastic. So if you are those consumers who shop for a car and you emphasize the rear seat a lot, unfortunately, I feel like this car is not really for you. It all sounds like bad news, isn't it? Wait, the good news is actually at the front seat. So as you can see, the opening of the door is quite big, almost close to 90 degrees. And the good news is all at the front seat. Yes, when you're looking at the picture, you will notice that, ew, why small screen? Why still got taco one? It seems like very low tech. Some got even yellow budding light. Oh, there's no sunroof, there's no moonroof, there's no massage chair, there's no aircon chair, there's no big screen. So is this car in 2025? Wait, hold up. I know what you're talking about, and yes, all of those are facts. But it doesn't hamper the other facts that this is a well-assembled, well-designed Japanese vehicle. So you can see that it does have this good quality soft padded plastic on the dashboard and with leather lining here, and you can hear and feel the fit and finish of those knobs. It's very nicely tactile. For those with old school mindset like me, we appreciate those buttons. We do not appreciate the big screen, and it's useless in a sense. Then you look at the speedometer here, it does have a small screen here that reminds us the old Symbian OS phone, or for those who uses Sony Ericsson, BlackBerry, because you can see a few info here. Not much, but there's a few. For example, you can check out the chassis situation, you can go for the ACC, it will show you the parking sensors, whatnot. Then I know that for those who are very keen on the accessories of the vehicle, when they look at the quality of the camera, they will be like, oh my god, we are back to year Y2K. It just feels like VGA camera all around. It does not come with the auto parking whatnot. So yes, I know all of this you will complain about, but let's remember the fundamental. It does comes with a very nice fit and finish, high quality buttons and stalks, and it does have those soft padded material here and a very nicely sculptured seat. There are some parts that you feel corners have been cut, for example here. Yep, there's no other better word to describe it. It just feels cheap, but this is a daily car, so you need to ask yourself if you can accept that. And other than that, say this is a pretty simple and straightforward car. It's not as bad as the paper show, it's not as archaic. Some of them does feel very high quality. While we go for a drive, that's the true beauty of this Nissan Kicks e-Power shines. So let's talk about the driving experience of this vehicle, and as usual, I will do the mandatory startup test. Yeah, you can see the fancy animation e-Power and the sound effect, and that's it. There's no engine noise. It just feels like an EV. Then you will see the speedometer here. Right hand side is the normal tachometer. Then you can see that this is the eco bar, RPM light, power consumption meter, the energy flow. Then you have this attainment. You have these fuel consumption figures, info. So it's not fancy, but I would say it's just sufficient. And you have this screen here, which I believe Nissan or the supplier has sprayed an anti-glazing coating upside to reduce the glazing from sun. It does come with wired Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So for those who are really keen on this, they will feel that this is not that fancy or attractive. So this is an EV with a generator. There will be questions like, what if I drive too aggressively until my car is out of battery? So it does come with a few driving mode. It does come with this Sport, Eco or normal mode. You can go to Sport or Eco mode. Then you press the EV for 3 seconds and you can enter the charge mode. So now it fires up the engine to charge the battery, as you can hear now. So do you feel that the engine is disruptive or annoying to you? For me, I can hear the engine noise, and somewhat I can feel the minor vibration of the engine at my brake pedal, and that's it. So then you can see that this is the drive selector, a drive by wire gear knob. Okay, let's go for a drive now. And here's the part where this car truly shines, because I believe Nissan is trying to implement what they feel like it's driving all about to this REEV, as opposed to all the other Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer that try to reinvent what driving is about. So for example, when you are talking about hybrid vehicle or electric vehicle, one of the pain points that most of the car manufacturers fail on is the e-pedal drive or the regen braking. And for this car, it's surprisingly okay. I wouldn't call it excellent to use, but it's okay, because you can see that the car is trying to mimic how you would drive in real life condition by gradually applying the regen force. So it does not jerk the car that much or pull the car back that much that causes nauseousness or uncomfort. So for example, now I'm stepping on the throttle. Once I release the throttle, you can feel that the car actually slows down quite gently, which is rather impressive. And if you do not like it, you can just deactivate it. So go back to normal mode and you can deactivate the charge mode. So now this is the typical mode. And once you release the throttle, it just feels like a normal car and it glides you through. And because this car is rather lightweight, it does not feel clumsy like driving all the other 2 ton plus minus EV vehicle.
when it goes to the corner or when it comes to stopping the car. It does feel agile and nimble, and if you can look at the GoPro on my steering input and how the car switches direction, you will know that this car is actually as agile as a rat or a hamster despite all this duck appearance. I know it looks like an ugly duckling, but this is actually a very agile car that can put some of the other hot hash wannabe into shame, no matter on straight line and on corner. Yes, 0 to 100 on this car, on paper it does not look impressive. 0 to 100, the official figure is 9 seconds plus minus. It is not much, but trust me, you look at how the car is responding. So it can switch direction easily with minimal body roll. It's very composed. So if you want to do some ridiculous shenanigans, you can, and the car will just comply. You can see the car flows into the corner, so you can tell how the car flows in the corner, how the chassis is composing. And the only complaint I have on the driving position is the seat is rather high. For me personally, I prefer the seat slightly lower, but that is just nitpicking. The driving position is okay. The steering is surprisingly precise and responsive. Despite the tall center of gravity exterior, the car does feel planted on the road. And what surprised me more is this car is actually running a 205 with 17-inch Yokohama Blue Earth eco-friendly tires. It was not meant to do all this, but the car can do this, and it tells you that, oh, okay, my left front tire does not have grip, or my rear tire does not have grip, or you want to go this corner fast, okay, but I will warn you with a little bit of tire noise. So you can see. And now let me do a full acceleration test. This is as noisy as it can get. And you can look at the speedometer, it's just in a blink of eye from 80 all the way to 120. 0 to 100, it is not impressive. But because you can use the 260 Nm of torque all year round, the drivetrain is actually very happy to comply your input. And compiled with the linear brake, so you can do gentle braking. It does have very good feedback on the brake pedal, and also a very responsive and linear throttle pedal. A lot of EV out there or hybrid vehicle out there, they will tune the electric pedal as in a 1 and 0, on and off, a very digital kind of input. So it's very hard for you to manipulate the throttle and control the body motion in corner. But for this car, if you look at the GoPro, you can see that you can actually manipulate the vehicle dynamic in the middle of corner, and it's just happy to comply. So I will do another full beam stats. You can see this. This is full acceleration. Look at how fast the speedometer climb. And this is way better compared to the Artiva Hybrid and the Tigor Cross, because it can go as fast as 160, and more than that also can, but I think we are overspeeding quite a bit, so I have to slow down. You can tell that this car is really enjoyable to drive, not just on the straight line but on the corner as well. Don't be fooled by the ugly ducking exterior of this car, or the small screen, or the lack of amenities, lack of toys. You can have this digital rear mirror. Yeah, I know all of this does look a little bit 1990s or early 2000s, but the most important thing of a car is the driving experience, is the essence. And I think this car is really good. It may make it able to provide you all the advantage and benefit of an EV vehicle, yet it gives you the analog and traditional driving feel, what you enjoy about driving a car. If you are not full throttle, you just gently press on the throttle, the engine will not make any noise into the cabin. And the best part is, you can look at the speedometer still climbing. Now I'm having my throttle pedal at 50%, and you can see the speedometer is just going up and up and up and up. This is the noisiest it can get. Okay, you only can hear some wind noise and whatnot. So all in all, I can say this car is really good when it comes to driving. Okay, of course there's still some soft body roll whatnot, and it's quite soft when it goes to the bumps, but what matters is it holds itself in the corner. It managed to communicate with you rather well. The steering is precise. You can feel the chassis from your buttock. Man, I have never it's been a long time since I have driven cars like this, and Nissan Kicks able to give me all this feeling without the compromises. I don't need to worry about the fuel price of tomorrow go to 4 ringgit or 5 ringgit per litre, I still can enjoy driving like this, okay? I do not need to worry the battery go dead anytime soon because Nissan has been in the business for quite some time. And I do not need to wait for the turbo, I don't need the gear change. Yet the chassis is communicative enough, the steering is sharp enough, responsive enough. So all in all, ask yourself what you want in a car. For me, I really like this car. It's able to provide me all the advantage of EV driving sensation of cars back then. It reminds me of the Ford Fiesta, Volkswagen Polo, or even Ford Focus, all those cars. It just feels like it, you know? So what more do you complain? Can you complain about? I really like this car. This car is just fantastic in that sense. And it's a shame that consumers nowadays do not appreciate this kind of attributes or the quality of car manufacturer that prefer their car have big screens and they do not mind if the car drives like shit. But this car is those opposite. It drives fantastically well, and it will question you why you need to keep on maintaining, let's say a Mark 5 or Mark 4 Golf GTI that keeps leaking oil when you have all the similar performance here, yet you do not need to pay high fuel consumption and high maintenance. For those who have left a comment in our previous video asking compared to Tiggo Cross, compared to other, or how does it feel like? Okay, I have to be 100% honest and truthful to you. This is the best car to be driven among all of them. I'm not saying it's the cheapest, I'm not saying it's the most practical, but this car is the funnest car that can be driven among all of them. What I have demonstrated just now is not even close to what this car can do on the maximum setting. If I show you what this car can do on the maximum setting, I believe I will be banned from YouTube.
So as a conclusion, how does this Nissan Kicks e-Power stand in front of all the competitors? Despite the given fact that this vehicle, no matter the powertrain or the exterior, the interior, it's somewhat aged for more than 5 years. Let's look at the available product in the market. You have the Chery Tiggo Cross hybrid variant, which in my opinion is the best bang for buck. It's cheapest, it's quite powerful, more powerful than this instead. And it's also quite, however, when it comes to the refinement and handling, this is better. And let's compare to the next available hybrid vehicle in the market, for example, the Honda City EF. For that, it used to feel that the engine is trying to compromise, and also the electric motor is trying to compromise in the sense of efficiency. They are trying to be more frugal as possible, and somewhat that actually reduces the driving fun. Then it's the same story for the Honda HR-V EF variant, and that is more expensive than this. For the Nissan Kicks, the pricing is strategically located between the cheapest in the market and the HR-V, the Corolla Cross. The price varies between 113,000 all the way up to 125,000, which is a rather competitive pricing. Let's not forget about that this car is a series hybrid vehicle, so there is not much for you to maintain. You only need to change the generator oil. I refuse to call it the engine oil. It's a generator oil. As per Nissan own maintenance schedule, you still need to maintain it every 10,000 kilometers, but it's only for you to change the generator oil, and that's it. If you have done some research for all the other parallel hybrid vehicles, for example, the EF, Honda HR-V, or the Toyota Corolla Cross, you will notice that they will spend a slightly more in maintenance costs compared to this. And let's not forget that despite Toyota has a very strong reputation when it comes to hybrid, Nissan is the first ever Japanese manufacturer that mass produce electric vehicle. So no matter the back there, underneath the front seat, that are 1.4-ish kilowatt, slightly smaller than Tiggo Cross, 1.4-ish kilowatt hour battery underneath the front seat, all this electric motor, all of this is a test, trial and proven platform by Nissan. It's quite biased, but it's just my personal opinion. If you wanted something that are more practical than this, there's plenty of them in the market. And if you want something that are cheaper than this, there's even more options available in the market. But if you want something that are nice to drive like this, I can say this is the best car to be driven, period. Include all the other ICE vehicles that I have driven all this while. And as a matter of fact, even me personally will consider to buy this car if there is a need to replace my trustworthy Proton Iris. If you like what we are doing, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. We will see you on the next one. Thank you.